This podcast was produced by the Fireside Chat Club of Canada.
Hello, and welcome to Canada as I see it. Hello, and welcome to this week's podcast. Today is September 8th, and that would make yesterday September 7th, and the day before September 7th. My daughter got married yesterday, and we were lucky enough to be there, and today's program was introduced by her and her new husband, Zach. Welcome to the family, Zach. You really don't know what you've gotten yourself into. So it may be September, but it is still summer, technically, and today is a subject that is actually still a thing. Lawn sprinklers. Now, this could have easily been a story on Paul Harvey's radio program, The Rest of the Story. That was something that ran years ago, and I used to prepare it for broadcast where I worked. And Paul started out doing this program during the Second World War, and it evolved over time, running for over 60 years during news programs or a standalone thing. And it was syndicated to stations all throughout North America. Now, the rest of the story started simply enough with the fact that you likely knew about. And then he added bits and pieces before culminating in a reveal that had you saying, "Wow, I did not know that." Well, today's story begins with the birth of Elijah McCoy. He was born as a free man in 1844 in Colchester, Ontario, which really is the southernmost mainland settlement in Canada. The only point further south than that is Pelee Island, and that's a fact from quite a few episodes ago. Well, Elijah's parents escaped from Kentucky and made their way through the Underground Railroad to Canada. When he was 15, after his parents moved the family of 15 to Michigan, Elijah was sent to Edinburgh, Scotland, to study. He returned home as a mechanical engineer. He was only able to find work on the railroad as a fireman, really, but he learned enough about the engines to invent an automatic lubricator, which greatly assisted the railroad engineers in keeping the trains running smoothly, because they would often have to stop to lubricate the parts so that things would not seize up. And that process of automatically lubricating the engine and parts is the story behind the phrase, "the real McCoy." Now, that device I guess it still is because I've seen it, that automatic device was called an oil drip cup, and it was patented in 1872. One theory is that railroad engineers looking to avoid inferior copies would actually request it by name, inquiring if a locomotive was fitted with that real McCoy system. So, the real McCoy. Through his lifetime, Elijah continued to explore and create. He submitted papers for over 57 patents for many, many different products. One actually became both the godsend and the bane for any person who wanted to make sure that their clothes were neatly pressed: the folding ironing board. Now, have you ever tried to open or close one of those things? I think his design, well, over time, it must have been tainted or twisted, literally, and bastardized into the finger-crunching, sticky, noisy contraptions we have today. But that's just me. I actually still iron things. Another one of the patents that Elijah submitted, and one for something that's still utilized today, is for a device we use to not only keep our grass green, but something that gave me more playing time in my childhood than anything else. And so we come to today's subject. Actually, got to go back a bit. A few weeks ago, I discovered that they'd installed built-in sprinklers in the courtyard where I live. You know, those ones that sort of pop up out of the ground. Well, it seems like the aim of one of them was a little off, and in its sequence of spraying the lawn, it would finish by spraying the path that I needed to get to my car. I briefly considered running through it and, reliving a bit of my childhood, but then I thought it through and realized, well, I'd have to walk back to the building, up 2 flights of stairs, change, then walk back down the stairs and attempt to dodge the water on my venture to the car a second time. And, well, I determined that even though I had the time to do so, I just didn't have the energy. And so there we have the lawn sprinkler, a little out of the way of the lubricating railroad engineering path that McCoy was on, but it's one we're thankful for nonetheless. And now, as Paul Harvey used to say, you know the rest of the story. All of them. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you'd like to introduce the podcast, please send me a recording of you saying, "This podcast is produced by the Fireside Chat Club of Canada." And you can email that to me at asiseeit@warpole, WHORPOLE.ca. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. I will talk to you again next week. And that's a part of Canada as I see it. It is written and produced by me, James Warpole, and brought to life by the Fireside Chat Club of Canada. Our theme song is Night Owls by Braden Deal. If you have any questions or comments, please email me at asiseeit@warpole.ca. Join us every Sunday for another episode of Canada as I See It.